What is going on, everyone? Bo here with Beauviarts, and tonight we are going to draw some lightning from Final Fantasy XIII. So just waiting here to see if anybody joins in. If not, no biggie, we will continue. Let me make sure I have everything prepped. So we have our canvas, and prepare my brushes real quick. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. And I'll jump back to the live stream thing here in a minute. Alright, so I always like to start with the eyes, usually when I'm drawing something, so let's see, we're going to estimate it about right here. And I say eyes, but I mean eyebrow. If I get the eyebrow down, then it's like I'm feeling pretty good about it, then it's going to be a good night for drawing. So if you're joining me, just leave a comment and I'll catch up with you here in just a second. We're going to start blocking in these shapes real quick. So Lightning's eye kind of comes down here. She's got a fairly normal shaped eye. Okay, and let's go ahead and finish the shape off right here. Something like that. And then she'll have like some hair stuff going on over here. So, hey, what's up, Matt? How you doing? Sorry, man, I tried to do this a few minutes ago, and I was in the middle of setting it up. And I don't really know what happened, but it just didn't go my way. It started recording when I wasn't ready, and anyway, hope all is well, my friend. Alright. And let's go ahead and get the lashes and stuff. So and I'm actually drawing the thumbnail that I posted on YouTube, so something for you to look forward to. We hope it's going to turn out that way. And this is pretty thick up here. Her lashes are pretty thick, so awesome. Well, wouldn't you know that I did this on the background layer, but that's okay. Usually I just compile everything to one layer anyway, one or two. So it's really not that big of a deal, but it's a habit that I really have lately. Man, I'm doing pretty fantastic. Some allergies, but that's just part of the September season. Just trying to get some studies in here, and that's exactly what these are. Just studies. Just trying to get better at characters, per usual. Take it you're probably working early today, or hopefully you have the day off. I think I'll talk a little bit about kind of how Toxic and I met tonight. That might be a fun little story. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty darn good about this, so let's kind of make this circle. Now her pupil and cornea and all that good stuff comes down pretty far, so we'll kind of hone in on this circle here in a little bit, because it's gonna I don't know why it's doing this edge right there, but that's okay. And we can zoom in a little bit for you guys, because I know it doesn't really reflect the recording doesn't reflect what I'm actually doing as far as like zooming and probably HD and whatnot. So we're gonna take this down just a tad here. It looks like it's kind of a square shape. So let's just fix that a little bit. Maybe not that much. Just right there. There we go. All right. Hey, we have another viewer, so thanks for tuning in, Mr. or Mrs. Viewer. Always awesome to have more people. And I'll kind of bust out and answer some questions and talk here in a minute. I'm just kind of in the zone on this eyeball right now. It's basically how I determine if it's gonna be a good night or a bad night. It's by these damn eyes. Okay, let's see here. Not really happy with that placement. It's actually a little bit over here. So it may have looked like a good eye, but you know, if we don't place this exactly right and we're going by reference, then she might end up looking a little cross-eyed. Which, hey, maybe that's something you're going for on your character, but not for lightning. Not on this day. Okay. And that's pretty dark right there. That gets pretty dark towards the pupil. And it's all going, I'll tell you what, we'll just color the whole sucker in, because it's all going to come down to a little highlight that we do right here. So let's bring our brush tip down in size, and I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this. It's going to be right up against the pupil here. And it's solid white. So, you know, we need to, well, tell you what, doing that really helped me figure out that this is screwed up. Let's come down here a little bit. There we go. Much better. And we can clean up the mess here. Oh god, it's going to be another one of those nights where I keep pulling up that stupid thing. Why is it? Oh, I thought I hit the eraser. Okay. Well. Alright. There we go. Something kind of like that. And we can go back and refine it. Not a bad start. So, oh man, I'm off, so stuff up having a few beers. Heck yeah, man. Awesome, dude. Oh, stood up having a few beers. Man, I haven't had a beer in a while, in a good while. So for everyone watching, so I'm talking to Toxic Agnostic here. His name's Matt, and he has a YouTube channel. And the way we met was kind of weird, and I say met, I mean like online met. There's another YouTuber, and there's these, I don't even know where to explain it, but there's this show called, well, there was this show called To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen, and you know, it's about these guys that go online and they try to catch these they try to like have sex with these underage children, you know, 13, 12, stuff like that. So this Chris Hansen and the To Catch a Predator, I'm sure everybody's pretty much heard of it, but you know, they set up stings and they bust these guys, but for whatever reason the show stopped, and there's basically this whole online community of people that still watch that show because it's funny. I mean, the subject matter is not funny, but some of these guys, their reactions and stuff are funny. So there's some individuals that make pretty pretty damn funny like parody videos and stuff like that. So we were sharing a laugh on one of those guys channels, and yeah, it's basically how we ended up talking. But Toxic's doing that kind of stuff now, and it's pretty freaking funny to listen to. You gotta check it out if you're up for a quick laugh. So let's do some lashes real quick. And I'm hitting these pretty dark. And they're pretty profound. So I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's go down a size. I'm going to go up to 100%. Why not? And we're going to start kind of darkening this eye line. Actually, I'll need a thicker brush for that. I'll tell you what, we'll do this. It's a nice tip size there. Yeah, something like that. And then we'll come down here and slowly but surely start making this just a little bit darker. We're going to want that value to set in, and we'll fix her eyebrow a little bit later. First I want to zoom out and get a good read of that. That looks okay. It's pretty good shape right there. Yeah. Feeling pretty good. Okay. So let's turn this down and let's just give like some slight lines indicating where her hair is going to be. And these can all be fixed a little bit later, but I just want to get a better feel of this piece. And this hair is actually going to go a little bit more up this way. And you can be messy on these, it's okay. And that's going to give us a pretty good read of where her bangs are going to go, because Lightning has these kind of emo bangs that go all over the place. Yeah, somewhere around there. So the only thing that's going to be a tough decision is where her other eyebrow begins. And for that we might start on the nose. I haven't really decided yet. We know her eye is somewhere over here, so that's a pretty good start. Have to sober up. Last class. Yeah, COD does bring people together. I don't know why I read these things like up, from the bottom up, but whatever. Here, I'm going to scroll down like this so you can see the newest stuff. I know there's a program, or maybe I can set up the screen to where I have just the chat. But, whatever. Yeah, man, no problem. Absolutely. Let's see. So it's like, it feels like her eyebrow's like right around here. I'm a little apprehensive to start it because that's pretty funny. I just realized I have to sober up. No, it looks like you get to land a freaking airplane over there. Here, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll start doing a little bit of shading, and I know it seems early, but this will help me figure out where some of these like lines go. So we're just taking our sponge brush. If you are confused of which brush that is, you can check some of my other live streams, and actually most of my Photoshop artwork I'm using this type of brush. And it's okay. We're going into her hair. That's fine. We will fix it later. It's not a big deal. Don't freak out. You're probably thinking, why is he doing that? But it's okay. You're just gonna have to trust me, okay? All right, let's see here. So her nose comes down like there. somewhere around there. It's pretty good. And then there's like this like mess of no stuff. There you go. Yeah, and then that'll give me a pretty good idea of what's going on there. And it's more straight than that too, so I'll tell you what, we'll flip the color scheme. It's gonna like, oh, here we go. Actually, it's gonna come out a little bit more than that. Let me see here. Something like that. I don't know. You know, I mean, whatever. Does it matter? I mean, it's just live, right? If I screw up, it's only live. I have no shame. Alrighty. So, whoop. And then, yeah, that highlight will be there, but there's also like some hair stuff going on here. Like so. And then like more hair there. Let's see what's going on in our chat. Question: how come you start with the eyes first? My wife is a painter and she starts with the head first. I think it's rather interesting you start with the eyes first. Well, let me try to explain this because I have to think about how I want to answer this. Yeah, it's a very good point. Like, first off, I think this answer is kind of in different parts, but first off, I'm not a traditional artist or painter. Actually, I've never gone to school for this or anything like that. Starting today, I actually started some online courses that my friend so graciously, I guess, essentially paid for. Anyway, we're kind of sharing this online course thing on his account. Anyway, I digress. So, it's all about placement. So, like for lightning, well, when I'm drawing from reference, that's just how I prefer to do it. I think it would just be weird to like start with the circle for her and then be like, okay, well, let's do this kind of thing, and then we know the chin's down here, and then because these tend to end up, I think, being more or less pretty similar for me at least. Um, and I know that if we were drawing lightning from something like this, that uh, I would probably screw it up. The slightest change in like an eye or something can make the entire character a different character. So that's kind of why, especially with reference, I just start out just drawing the eyes. I think it's a good point of reference as to where everything else is going to be, and I probably make it a little bit harder on myself. That's what she said. Uh, Doing it this way, but it just kind of helps me out. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I've done portraits for a long time. I took like a 8-year break from art, but I always did the eyes when I was doing a reference, and I never got into the underlay like I just showed you guys. I never got into that kind of thing, and I don't know why that is. Once again, it's probably because I'm just not properly trained. And damn, it's so hard to draw a circle anyway. Like, I always get around there, and then or does that kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe I could sketch one real quick. Let me see. That's pretty shitty. Pardon my French. What is that? Is that a fly? Okay, I thought I had a bug on my monitor. Anyway, good question. Because that's something that people ought to know if they're trying to copy me. Which I will sue you if you copy me. That is a promise. No, I'm just kidding. As I draw somebody else's work. Okay. Let's see. See, Toxic, this is where I'm going to have some problems here because, had I drawn this traditionally, I probably would have been able to tell where this stem eye is. Somewhere over there. There we go. It probably needs to be. No. I'm so scared right now. I'm so scared. Oh. I know what I was going to do. Okay. Sorry, people. That is the one thing about me is I'm a little bit scatterbrained. Yeah, something like that. And crank this back up. Like, there we go, something like that. And we're gonna go like so. And this won't be like really perfect because this eyebrow is gonna be partially hidden. Damn, you know, I can almost take this eye, copy it and flip it, but I don't really like to do that either because, I mean, you can. I mean, digital art, there's use every tool you can. However, you know, all of our features are different. You know, no two eyes are alike and that sort of business. So what I'll do is I'll draw it out, and if it needs to be transformed or moved around, then I can do it like that. You know, like physically move it with the transform tool right here. So no worries. I just like to try to get it right the first time. Um, that way I don't have to do it later. Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, like, you know, for about, I think I really started characters, as far as digital art goes, I really started hitting them hard. Um, the beginning of last month, I really started like watching a lot of tutorials, and a lot of people do the method we just kind of talked about. And I've tried it so much, and I'm not ready to give up or anything like that, but you know, I was always okay at doing portraits and stuff growing up. And so, really, a couple of weeks ago, I just decided to start, you know, kind of doing them like I was used to. And it's just been working out. Like, it comes a lot more naturally to me. Um, I don't know, there's something kind of more. I don't want this to sound like weird, or actually, I really don't care if it sounds weird, but there's a little bit more intimacy um, with my artwork this way. Like, I don't know, like starting out with the eyes and stuff. That does sound really weird, but it seems to work out a little bit more, uh, like as far as like me caring about the piece and stuff. Okay, it's gonna go there, and same kind of method here for this eye. We're going to kind of box it in here. That's okay if we don't get a perfect circle shape. It's some weird stuff going on with the lighting anyway, so. And I don't know if I'll finish this tonight per se, but we're definitely gonna knock some stuff out. So I'm gonna zoom out a little bit, and it's a little bit strange. The shape is. I think down here it's lacking some eyeball stuff. I don't know. You gotta love that I just say whatever. I don't know. Let's see here. There's just some shape that's missing on it, but that's okay. We can just rough sketch it for now. So something kind of cool happened. I drew Laura Croft the other night. If you follow me on Instagram, I post all my art there. Twitter, I have a pretty good following. I post some stuff on there. But I did this Laura Croft piece, and I didn't do it on YouTube. I just kind of, you know, it was kind of a just one of those nights. I just felt like drawing, and I kind of got carried away. And I posted this sucker on Twitter because, you know, it's just a kind of a cool sketch. You can go check it out if you want. And ended up like the like composer for the Tomb Raider games liked it and then started following me. So that was kind of a cool moment. I've had like little things like that happen, but those are some games I kind of grew up with, and they're pretty awesome games. I like the new one, the how they rebooted the series. But that was kind of a cool moment for me. FFXIII watching. Awesome. Welcome, guys. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We are just screwing around with Lightning's eyeball here, hoping that something will come out of this. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump the gun a little bit, and I'm gonna put this lighting source right here. Zoom out right away. I mean, this eye looks a lot better, but this shape is kind of getting there. Um, it's kind of a weird eye because her hair is going to cover up a decent portion of it. So I'm really not too concerned on, um, like I know it looks a little bit off right now, so we can come back and touch up on it. Well, that's not doing any favors to anyone right there. I say that, and then I'm gonna keep working on it. So there's some like hair and stuff that comes over like right here and right here. So there's like a few portions of the eye that we just aren't going to be able to see. And I'm okay with that. Less eye that I have to worry about later. So, awesome. Tell you what, and we'll also come up here and we're going to just darken this a little bit. Bring down our opacity. And you guys will start being able to tell, how this reads a little bit better. Yeah, something like that. Grand Theft Auto. Man, I don't really know. Like I've played all of them, I think. Played most Grand Theft Autos. Um, I do and I don't. Like I think that as I've aged, I've kind of grown out of open world games entirely, which is kind of weird. I kind of did a flip there. Like I managed GameStop for a long time, and I kind of became sour about a lot of the like big hit games. The ones that everybody were after. I kind of got hipster about it. You know how hipsters are now. Um, but I was just kind of a GameStop. I was like, another open world game. That kind of thing. But it's okay, man. Like, I have a lot of fun. Like, I bought the fifth one when it came out. I mean, I say that now, and I still play the darn things. But there for a while, I was just like, meh. Like, Skyrim would come out, and that didn't really do a lot for me. And I just, I kind of got to where I was just really picky on my games because I was just around them so much, I guess. I guess if I like worked at a coffee shop or somebody works at a coffee shop, maybe they'd get tired of coffee after a while. But it's a lot of fun. I don't know. I kind of did a reversal though. I did like, I got to where I was like, I don't want to, I'm not even excited about the Final Fantasy games because, we play them all the same way and, you know, um, and I only did like wanted to do open world games for a while because like everybody played it different. It was a different experience. And then like as I got older, I was just like, I don't have time for this crap anymore. Like I don't have time to like wander to the other side of this planet to do this or that. So I kind of got more into like the like I guess these types of games where you and I would play them very similarly. So if you can't tell, this thing down here is going to be the nose, if you haven't already figured that out. And, man, wish I had some tea made. I did some green tea earlier and it's pretty awesome. This is not a bad little read here so far. I dig it. And what you're going to want to do... Ah, crap, and I'm drawing everything on the same layer. I might as well just compress or flatten the layers out, start a new one for the shading at this point in time. And a lot of this is going to get erased as far as I'll just show you. So this we're going to do like this little line down here for highlights. That's probably a little bit too much, actually. Like, I think the brush is too thick, so let's make it smaller. We're going to crank this up, and we're going in for it. Here we go. Here we go. Go down right there. Nose highlight somewhere right there. Okay, yeah. And then, like, there's going to be a little bit more going on with the nose here. This isn't nearly complete. What games do I like? Ooh, so let's see. I'll just tell you what I've been playing lately. What I've played the past few months. I think I started getting back into games with Tom Clancy's The Division, and I was like really hyped up for that, and it ended up not being very good in my opinion. Like, I kind of capped out the level cap and everything like that, and I was like, nothing much to do. There's a bug on my screen, like a light bug. Okay. And then I played the heck out of that, and then my friend bought me Dark Souls. So I did Dark Souls like until I just couldn't do it anymore. I did that for a couple months, had a lot of fun with it. I love Dark Souls 3. I thought that was just such a great game. And From Software is just a really talented team anyway. Ooh, I almost hit the button that makes me stop streaming because it's mapped to my opacity on my brush. And then more recently, I traded in Dark Souls and I bought No Man's Sky, which I thought sucked pretty bad. I liked it for like 3 hours and then I didn't really like it anymore. So, which seems to be kind of what everybody thinks about that game. So, I've kind of been playing like some retro stuff lately. Like, my favorite thing ever is Super Nintendo and like 64 and PlayStation and stuff like that. And I'm a big, of course I like RPGs. I love Final Fantasies. Secret of Mana is my favorite game ever. If you haven't played it, then you need to play it. And let's see here. What else have I been doing? Oh, one game I really want to play is the new Deus Ex because I love Deus Ex. It's like one of my all-time favorite series ever, and I think like the Human Revolution and Adam Jensen's a badass character. That's actually something I wouldn't mind drawing again. I drew him like with like a pen like a couple of years ago. I wouldn't mind revisiting that and tackling that again. So I need to clean this up. I mean, I know this isn't like anything really serious over here. I just kind of put that down as a placeholder. But first, let's go down here and we're gonna get the slightest indication of like whatever that mouth thing's called that like connects your nose to your mouth. I don't know. So yeah. And then here we can even get silly down here. Like, why not? Let's be brave and go ahead and go for the mouth. How about that? Because that's a pretty good proportion we have going on. Like, this is obviously like here. Let me put some of this to rest for you guys here. So like that's gonna be some hair, like kind of like that. So you can get the full effect of what's going on here. And you can already tell that, like, you can tell that looks really cool. Like, I don't know, to me it does. Just how the highlights will be obstructing her hair like that. So that's kind of why I wasn't really focused on this eye too much, because I knew that a lot of hair would be covering it up. So, and guess what? I can always make more hair cover it up if I if I don't want to mess with it. Anyway, we're trucking along here. Ooh, Sega Genesis and Game Boy Color. Man, growing up, like my brother, I grew up in a relatively poor household. It was a single mother situation, and I didn't have a lot of access to those things. Like my brother started working. He's older than me, and he immediately was obsessed with buying like the newest Super Nintendo and all that good stuff. So naturally, what this kind of I'll go to hell. All right, naturally, I would piggyback off of that, and we're gonna fix that nostril here in a little bit too. Oh gosh, go. Sorry about that, guys. So, he started working at this place called Funco Land, and it's like GameStop or EB Games or whatever everybody has. And he kind of took care of me. Like he worked there and then Toys R Us, and he basically kind of made sure that as his younger brother, like I had like all the cool systems and stuff. So he bought me a Super Nintendo, and I played the crap out of that all the way up until he also bought me a Sega Genesis. But I played the Super Nintendo and the Sega all the way up until the Nintendo 64 came out, and my mom finally got me that for like my 12th or 13th birthday. But my brother bought me a Sony PlayStation and Final Fantasy VIII on it, and of course, I had to go back and get Final Fantasy VII. And at that time, I had like little odd jobs and stuff as a teenager. But those are just some of the happiest times of my life, and I know it sounds kind of sad, but like sitting in my room and finally kind of getting to play something that had a narrative and where I was actually able to understand what was going on in these games was just like a really cool point of my life. But yeah, Sega Genesis, and actually with the Sega, I had the like all the little stupid add-ons for it. He got me the like Sega CD and the 32X, and just those were kind of useless. But let's see here, I'm trying to get this nose kind of like where I want it, a comfortable spot before I move on. And it's kind of weird because you can see, well, what's going on here is her nostril is casting a relatively darker shadow here, so it looks like a booger's hanging out of her nose. So just kind of, you're gonna have to ignore that for a little bit, and I'll fix it. Like it'll all come together when I start shading it, but it bothers me because I know people tuning in, they'll be like, well, I shouldn't really care what other people think, but you know, I love you guys, so for watching. Pressure's on now. Pressure is on. Okay, so let's come up here and shade. We're going to start shading a little bit more as we go along. And that's what I'll do. I'll kind of work this like a printer, like a 1990s printer. I'll just start, slowly like, bloop, rendering this little by little. And yeah. Not too bad. And let's come over here, and we're just going to clean this up a little bit because the bridge of her nose it's not like wide or anything, so I'm going to have a little bit of shading down here. And something like that, and then we can pop in here and just give like a little bit of highlight just as kind of a place marker, just to kind of maybe see this thing start to come together. And this will be darker over here in a minute. So it'll be like something like that, and then let's see, there's like a little bit of highlight over here too, and then there's once again this line, and it's probably not this profound. It's not going to be that white in the end. Okay, well, enough of that. We will continue to press forward here. If you guys have any other questions or comments or whatever, then just keep them coming. It's too dark. And it's too long. So her lips are going to start, based on what I've done so far, right around here. And she almost has human type lips, and I say that because, you know, the obvious style style choices of Final Fantasies, and we can just kind of put in the shape. Like, it doesn't have to, we're not going for like perfect lips right now. Like, we can just kind of lock in what's going on with the shape here. Then afterwards we can start locking it in. It's a little bit crooked there. So let's zoom out, get a good read. You know, they're going to be a little bit different as far as like what the shape goes, but I want to make sure that we have them placed in the correct spots. So like, I try to look at what this is like up here, you know, and while the shading leaves a little bit to be desired, not bad. I'm pretty happy with the results of it so far. Let's see. Yeah, my Genesis was my brother's, and the Game Boy I nicked. Do I watch The Walking Dead? Off and on. I went as Rick Grimes for Halloween like a few years ago, but I think I watched it. Let's see. I watched some of the latest season because I'm a huge fan of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and I knew he was going to be Negan. And I think kind of, you know, I watched this the show Lost years ago when that was out, and Walking Dead kind of reminds me of that because there's so many flashbacks. So to me, it gets a little irritating. So I'll kind of watch it off and on. Like, it seems like something I can kind of like pick up, like, you know, half a year later and be like, okay, you know, oh, okay, you know, that's, uh, I, I understand what's going on here, that kind of thing. But it's not too bad. I mean, here we can even do that. We can start. Let's see, how big is this thing? I'm just trying something here. I'm gonna try to like shade in her lips with this brush and see how we like that. I really don't like that method, but whatever. Doesn't matter. I think a lot of people are scared to go for it when it comes to digital art. Like, one of my favorite shows, well, I don't really like, I don't know, I don't watch a lot of, sorry, I can't talk. I don't watch a lot of horror anymore because my wife's not a huge fan of it. And typically the horror that I see nowadays is like, there's a lot of zombies, which is fine. I love zombies. I have a tattoo of a zombie, but um, I don't know. A lot of it seems to be kind of just like tasteless, like more of like keeping up with a fad lately. So I tend to watch like a lot of comedies, and I watch them over and over. Like right now, I'm watching the Office again for the I don't know. I think it's like my fourth or fifth time around to watch this series start to finish. And by the way, I'm actually kind of digging the way that this is kind of turning out now. Like some of these, now that I'm placing some of these shadows and stuff up here, pretty happy with what's going on. Yeah, The Office is awesome. I love it. Script actor Norman Reedus, man, Norman Reedus is awesome. Um, I watched, is it Boondock Saints, like when I was 15 or something, and for some reason, like, I don't really even think my friend and I understood the premise of that show. Like, we were just kind of like laughing at. I mean, I don't know. Like, we kind of have weird senses of humor anyway. But we watched that show in passing, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and like from that day forward, I really just like Norman Reedus, and I'm really excited about his new game. That's, you know, he's the like actor of or whatever. I think that's gonna be pretty awesome. So we shall see. Sorry, I've got a cough. Like I said, like my allergies are pretty terrible this time of year. Wife hates zombies too. Yeah, they're just so overdone. Like everybody's got zombies now. You know, every game, you know, has a zombie thing in it, and man, that was one thing I really hated hearing about was like the Call of Duty zombies. Like I've never bought a Call of Duty game to play the zombies. I could care less about it. Um, there we go. We're starting to kind of come around to the shading over here a little bit. Hang on just a sec here. Sometimes you do something in a piece and it kind of makes something, you know, it makes something make sense more than it has. So that's kind of what's happening right now. Her nose is starting to kind of, I was having a little bit of trouble seeing her nose, and now I'm adding this, you know, this value down here, and that's just kind of how things go. So also her eye, this eye up here is going to have quite a bit of shadow. Well, why does it have a little bit of shadow, you might ask? Well, it's because there's a lot of hair. So that's what's going on, yeah. That's what's happening. Awesome. Really, what's the name of the game? Oh, I forgot what I was talking about. What was I talking about? Name of the game. Oh, crap. What the hell was I talking about, man? I completely forgot. I started getting into this let's see. I was talking about zombies, right? Call of Duty. Um Help me out. Sorry, bud. That's kind of funny. I can't think of what I was talking about. Oh well. You'll remind me here in a second. I'll be like, "Oh yeah. Norman Reedus game, right? Yeah, there you go. Death Stranding. Check out this trailer. I wonder if I have this set up to where I can hear the audio for it. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'll check real quick. Why not? This might actually be catching it. Lol. Are you able to hear this sound, guys? It's 3 minutes long. I'm gonna get back to my drawing. Anyway, check out this trailer. I don't feel like chancing if you guys can't hear it, and we're just kind of staring at this blank screen, but that's the one. It's kind of a really weird, like, I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows what's going on with that game. The one with Norman Reedus. Yeah, I know. Uh, Something like that, and then that. Let's pull away here. Okay, cool. So let's see what we can do with these lips. That's what we're gonna do. Opacity. probably a little bit too dark. That's okay. This can all be changed later. And we're just getting the thickness of this top lip here. And right away, I'm going to start kind of just bringing in some different values and stuff. Let's change the opacity here, and we kind of get this effect where the shadow and where her lips meet kind of play together, they work together, except for right there. I made it a little bitty bump. You know, and you'll get this like over, this kind of like, I don't know what that's called. Lips are something that a lot of people are scared of. Actually, these look a little bit crooked. That's okay though. We can cut and paste everything and make it work. But I don't know why people are so scared of lips. I mean, they're easy to mess up. Like I'm messing these up right now. I'm crapping all over these things, but they're not that bad. I don't know. I'll say that now. See, and then we can just kind of come up here and start cleaning it up. And we're going to go really, really, just give it some finesse. You know, and that's kind of how I think about some of these features, and this sounds kind of weird. But, you know, you want to think about, like, if I'm, let's see, you know, if I'm painting a flower, you know, I'm going to have some finesse to it. Which, actually, I don't know why I use that as an example, because I don't know how to paint a flower, you know, like, you know, one of these, one of those, you know, something like that. It's actually not too bad. You know, have some finesse to the things that require finesse. You know, I wouldn't paint a flower like, you know, like, I hate you. I really don't know what the point of this is. Anyway, you know, for soft textures, you know, have, for God's sake, you know, it's like, didn't your mother ever teach you to be gentle? So that's kind of my outlook on that. A lot of people are just, damn, they really attack the tablet or whatever they're using, and I'm like, shoot, it doesn't have to be that dark, you know. Okay, I didn't think the sound was working on that. I'm glad I kind of backed off of that. I would have made you guys just watch nothing for a while. I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to flatten these, so you can do control, and when I say flatten, it's a fancy way of saying we're going to merge these layers, because I'm painting on both of them, and I'm not really separating them for, not even for shading at this point in time. So we're going to flatten them by hitting control and E, or you can even come to layer, and all the way down there it's like merge layers, control and E. So just a little tip. However, I am going to make a new layer just so it's there. I digress. I'm going to try to do something real quick, and if it works, I'll explain what I'm doing. Okay, well, I'll explain what I'm doing. I'm rotating her lips because they looked a little bit off. We'll apply the transformation, and let's deselect it. So, they're a little too pointy, you know, things like that, but we're getting where we want to be. And the reason I merged those layers is because, well, a couple of reasons here. I wanted to kind of trim up her lips real quick. I think that bottom one's a little bit too soft. Or too fat. Not soft. It's really hard to talk and draw at the same time and make any kind of sense whatsoever, so. And this is kind of where we can go down with the opacity. So what's going on here is like her lips are kind of blending in with the rest of her skin tone. Like it's just kind of a blurry line right there, so we're just going to spend a little bit blending that in. And it even kind of comes inside where her mouth line is, like kind of right around there. So let's kind of read where that is. Too bad. She looks a little bit mad, and it's because of her top lip here, so let's clean that up. Like these like little points right there is why she looks so mad, is, you know, I just haven't blended everything in. So as we've kind of stated before, if something has like points to it, then it's going to look a little bit angrier or more sinister. Let's save our project real quick before we continue. No questions. Nobody has questions. Okay, and this is still kind of like, let's see here, maybe like that. Oh yeah, it's a lot better. You zoom out and it's just, man, it's so easier to get a read of what is going on in your project. Somebody had asked a couple of live streams ago, like, why don't, you know, a lot of people are like, you know, they'll work on lips and stuff like this, and, you know, it's just the reason I can't see the rest of my picture, you know, like as I'm drawing it sometimes, I'm able to tell right away, like, this looks this looks really stupid. It looks really stupid. It needs to be fixed, and I can rectify the situation right then and there, right? That's not something I'm able to do. You know, you zoom in and you're like, okay, these lips look really good. It's probably the best lips I've ever drawn. And then, you know, you zoom out and it's like, oh God, it looks like Mr. Potato Head. You know, so you got to watch out for that kind of thing. That's why I zoom out. And, you know, now if it's something I know I'm going to spend a lot of detail on, that might be a different story, something that requires zooming in. And it's definitely okay to zoom in to clean up and stuff like that. But I would say, and I think a lot of professional artists out there, which, including myself, would tell you to try to stay zoomed out for the sake of humanity. Alright, let's kind of blend this in. So we're going to go for like a little bit less of a point there. We'll zoom in here, or not zoom in. Now I've said zoom in so many times that I can't stop saying it. So right now we're just refining, of course, the shape of her lips, because I wasn't happy with them. Everybody good? Everybody chilling? Well, I'm cool with that. So we're going to clean these up a little bit more. A bit quiet there. Hey, what is this? Somebody just twittered me. Who's twittering me? I'm Twitter-pated. Bonus points if anybody can tell me what Twitter-pated is from. What movie? It's a movie. Alright, let's see here. And everything I'm doing here is definitely helping this overall shape of her lips. I'm starting to feel like it's more and more like Lightning. I mean, she's not... I mean, Lightning's a pretty girl, but she's not like Angelina Jolie, big swollen lips, you know, nothing like that. So it's gonna look something like this, and that's fine. That's pretty good. And what we can do is we can continue on painting this line, her mouth line. And now that I'm doing this, I can kind of see like maybe a different problem here, and it's probably just with the shading here. So like this, you know, here, let me just kind of take care of this. So her old mouth line was like down here. There we go. So I will, let's see here. We're gonna come up here, we're gonna take our little sponge brush square pants. Can't talk. Oh, by the way, my audio is probably a little bit kind of windy today, and it's because it's really hot in my house. And usually I turn off my AC, but today, I don't know if it's like me recovering from a cold or something, but I was like, I'm just gonna leave the AC on. We're just sketching anyway. I mean, this isn't anything too serious. Well, I mean, it's serious in the I forgot what I was gonna say. Sorry. Just focus on this real quick. So, right away, we kind of start seeing something happening here. We start seeing this lip shape is starting to come in pretty nicely, and we're giving it, you know, that kind of curve that you want to see on a lip shape. And it's going to pull out to that side of the mouth and kind of defines the bottom lip a little bit. There's also kind of this shadow that's going to drop down right there a little bit. Zoom out, looking pretty good. So what we can go ahead and do, this is always kind of fun. Let me take some white here and just going to start hitting where the light is. We're going to fix the shading here is what we're doing. And to really sell it, we'll get our good old cube brush here. And, you know, this isn't finalized, but so you guys can see kind of just what a few highlights will do. Yeah. And we can even come in here and kind of do one of these things where we like clean up the lips that way a little bit. Zoom out. So yeah, we're getting a I just talked about how you shouldn't really zoom in too much, but I'm just making sure these are pretty bright. They're a shiny surface, so they're going to show a lot of light being reflected, right? So that definitely helps out a lot. And then when we go to shade in and smooth everything out, it's just going to look that much better. Pretty good, okay. Let's see. Yeah, pretty good. So what we can work on next, let's see here. We can do, trying to decide how I want to tackle this. We'll blend in later. I think I'm going to do a little bit more shading on her face, just kind of go back over and refine some areas real quick. Like I said, I'm going to do this as we go along. But you can definitely see lightning here, so that's good. At least I do. Let's turn this down. And once again, when you're shading, when you're working with values, start low. You know, you can always work up, right? Well, unless you're painting with white, like I just did. Here we go. You can always work up. You know, see? We can do this 100 times until we get black. We can press down hard. Uh, but, you know, if you start out at 100% opacity, you know, it's like, where do I go? There's not a lot of room to go. So that's why you'll see me start out at like, you know, something like 10, 15, somewhere around there, especially when I'm shading. Drawing, not so much. I'll usually go for like 40 to 50%, somewhere around, you know, maybe 30. Just depends on like if I'm sketching or if I'm kind of laying down some good lines. Okay, so and when you're doing this, I mean, keep in mind like there shouldn't really be any white spots on her face, right? And the reason being is because um, white is reserved for the hottest light source. So you'll get these like little glistens because it's bouncing light directly from that surface, that shiny surface. You know, the eyes are moist, her lips are moist. So you're going to have, and maybe her nose is kind of a little oily or something like that, but you're going to have that effect from those areas and only those areas. But I do see a lot of people that will have a lot of white spaces on their characters and things like that, and it just doesn't look right. You know, it's all about the values. It's all about going from the darkest to the lightest. Like showing that in one drawing is going to get you pretty far. And I see an opportunity real quick, speaking of values, to kind of break her lips up. So just right around here, there's just a touch of kind of like this. And you know what? I think her lip is actually a little bit fatter. I think it drops down right here. So we'll have to go back and actually I can do that right now. Watch this. We'll just do like that. Drop down here and like so. Something like that, and we'll come back and do our shadow again. We can clean this up a little bit later. There we go. How's everyone doing out here? Everyone doing alright? Good. Good, great, grand. Okay. And I'll tell you what, we're going to go ahead and flatten this layer because, well, let me shade in just a little bit more and then we'll flatten it out. We can move on to working with another layer. This is going to be pretty intense in some areas up here, and I know we've already shown that a little bit, but I'm going to show it a little bit more. So come right here. I mean, right away, this is kind of painting the edge of her face, you know. There's a lot of like, let me zoom out. That's kind of one of my favorite things to do is paint some negative areas and kind of see where that leads us. Here we go. So we flatten the layer. We go in with like we'll do like that. Kind of get the shape of her face down. Maybe. So her chin is like kind of round, of course, but it's also kind of pointy. It looks too manly right away. Awesome. Not too bad right there. Let's kind of revisit that. Sorry, I'm a little bit quiet. This just takes a little bit of practice. A little bit of concentration, and right away, of course, we can go pretty dark here, but that's not a bad start. And we can erase what we don't want or add on to it. Oops. I don't know what's going on with my hand. My hand is like super achy right now. Okay. Let's see here. This goes up a little bit more. Right there. And there's a lot of hair. So that concentration. I'm trying to see how this looks. Her chin looks a little bit long, and it's not circular enough. Right there. This comes up. It's more like that, and then we can come in here and kind of like take this down. This isn't something, you know, I expect to get right on the first try, but we want to get pretty close, you know, and then we can transform things later on. All that good stuff. 1 hour. Not too bad. So once again, if you guys have suggestions and stuff on what you'd like me to draw next, and you can leave them in the comment box. I'll take a look at them. And I'll be announcing the 100 subscribers winner very shortly, so be on the lookout for that, because that contest is, or the raffle is over, at least. I'm trying to think here. There's something up with her face, and I feel like that. I'm trying to see where it is. It almost feels a tad, just like a tad too narrow. Sorry, guys. Let's see here. Maybe y'all will agree with me, but I think it seemed like a tad too narrow. Also, I think her mouth seems a little bit too, like, maybe a little bit close to her nose. Let's see here. Huh? Well, right away, that feels a lot better. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Actually, I think it's a little bit better just enlarging it. And then, here, let me scoot it over just a little bit. I think that's good. That's a lot better. It feels a lot better that way. I know it's just like the slightest move. I mean, I'll zoom in so you can see, like right here, really was the slightest move, and we changed the size just a little bit, but actually Toxic, that goes back into kind of what I was saying when you asked me about like why I don't draw like the head first and then, you know, maybe all that. Truly, if your features are off just a tad, it can make such a difference on the entire face. Like I thought her cheeks and everything looked a little bit narrow, but it ended up being, you know, her mouth was too small. So interesting. All right, Maddie, we'll see you later, man. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your day off. Sober up. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And we will see you next time, buddy. All right. So let's go in here and add just a little bit of like hair and stuff like that. we'll come back and we'll tag this. Actually, I can fill that in real quick just so we're good on that. Our jaw kind of comes down here, and then it's gonna go. There's a slight like kind of like a it's like an obtuse triangle or an obtuse angle. I'm sorry. So obtuse is gonna be like that. So you can kind of see that shape in there. And the reason why it's so messy is because there's some shadow action going on down here, and also the light is not reaching her over here, so it's a little bit messier. And now we're cooking pretty good with lightning's shape and all that good stuff. And there's also an opportunity up here. I want to see if I can make this eye just a tad bit larger up here. Because now zooming out, I see that her eyelid, she's like wearing eyeshadow or something like that. It kind of comes up like this. And that's a little bit better too. So we'll fix a couple things. All right. Robust Nexus. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, we're drawing Lightning from Final Fantasy XIII. Hope you're doing well this evening. Thanks for tuning in. Definitely appreciate that. And we're just taking our time. We're having a good time, kind of with the study. One thing I want to get great at is characters, so this is how we're going to do it. And right there, actually, I see just a little bit of... I kind of went through and shaped the lips a little bit. A little bit better. There we go. Slowly but surely we are coming down with that lip shape. Everything's coming together. Pretty happy. You like drawings, but you're bad at it? I'm trying to see what your little icon is, if that's drawing or if it's your signature or something. Yeah, man, it's just like anything. It just takes practice. Anybody can really do it if you just put enough time into it, really. Actually, I need to save this, too. Like, for example, characters. Not my strongest point. I was talking to YouTube just a little bit ago. I don't know when you tuned in, but characters are not my strong point. I have only started just now studying them and trying to draw them. I've kind of drawn like this all my life, so a little bit of a cheat, but for the most part, this is new stuff to me, like especially on the digital art side. And now I'm just going to go and we're going to do some hair. And of course, Lightning has the, like, kind of the ribbons. So she's got several hair strands that come down like this. And then, there's some that kind of part and they kind of meet over like that. So she has really cool hair. Down here, and this is gonna kind of open up. She kind of has a mullet, to be honest with you. Just a little bit of a mullet. And we're just doing some sketches here. This will help us get like the overall shape of her head down. And it can be really rough. We can clean this up later, or we can take it away later. There's no pressure. Alright. I'll pop back up here in a second, answer some questions, talk to you guys, hang out, because that's kind of part of the reason I do this as well, is it's a nice time to just hang out and get to know some of my YouTubers. And stuff like that. There's some like that kind of stuff. really hard to draw the eyes. It can be. Um, my advice to you is just take your time. I mean, if you go back and watch this video, I definitely took my time drawing the eyes. Um, you just kind of break it down into shapes. Once you do that, they are all really similar and easy to draw. Well, I wouldn't say easy, but, like I said, it takes practice, but it makes it a little bit easier if you just practice it. Makes it a lot easier. And let's throw another layer real quick, and we can get some of the shading, since it seems like I'm doing a little bit of shading. And zoom out a little bit. We'll grab our shading brush here, crank it down a little bit. And now that we have this jawline over here, we can kind of give this some attention. Now keep in mind that, this definitely should be smoothed out unless it's just a stylistic choice that I make. But we don't want this like angular stuff, because then she'll look like a man, and we don't want her to look like a man. We want to clean all that up. And I think we're probably coming up to a good stopping point here. I think I'm going to save it, and we might pick this up maybe tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening. Just depends. Let's see here. Shading that a little bit. But that's a pretty good start to lightning, and we can kind of change her face. I see a few flaws right away. This can kind of be brought, well, maybe not that much. Probably not the right brush for this. But this can kind of be brought in and shaped up a little bit better, maybe? No. We'll jack with it tomorrow. So let's save it here. Awesome. Can you draw manga in Dota 2? It would be good. I'll subscribe. Dota 2. I forget what that stands for here. Let me look it up real quick. Like, here, I'll just look it up on this so you guys can see. I streamed. I think it stream something in photos, so I'm not sure we left. Feel free to follow me or subscribe. We can definitely get some manga too. Now I'm gonna you have a lovely definitely to this live stream. So let's see you later.